Welcome to my studio. I've got a lot to tell you today, a lot of things to show you. Nessie's gonna hang out with us. All right. My name is Tommy. This is my studio in my home. This is a FLOSSTUBE video you've landed on, so I talk mostly about cross stitch, but I do a lot of different things. I'm definitely a multi-crafter. You can see behind me, I've got a quilt, I've got a painting that's 30 years old, and some drawings. That's a chipmunk. So yeah, just come hang out with me. If you've been here before, I really appreciate you coming back. Please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, and yeah, we're gonna have fun. And hopefully Nessie doesn't cause too much trouble today. Huh? Are you gonna cause trouble today? Are you? So it's been 2 weeks. I've done quite a bit of stitching. Not as much as I had. I had been kind of on a marathon to finish my son's birthday gift, and I really wore out my wrists and hands, and so it was important that I not push myself too hard. And thankfully, everything's feeling better. No more pain, so that's good. So that's good. She's distracting me if she's not distracting you. So the first thing I'm going to show you is my very first finally finished object. Last video, it was my first finished cross stitch. So here we go. This is Sampler 53. I think that's what it's called, but I've just been calling it Dragons here on the channel. It's just a fantastic pattern. It's supposed to be square, but I had some issues with my Aida, so it's not quite square. It's a 3/8 of an inch different from top to bottom, but it's the same stitch count. I'll talk about that more later with a different project. But I really like the graphic quality of this, and I really enjoy like how the contrast is equal. Like there's just as much white as there is black. It's very balanced that way. So I really enjoy that. It was so much fun to work on. It was exciting getting down to the last couple stitches. You know, it's been a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. It was a great project to start on because just one color, it's very easy to count. Everything's very symmetrical and predictable. So when I would make a mistake, it would be pretty obvious. Like I didn't have too much trouble with frogging. I didn't have to frog a whole lot. A couple times, of course, but no big, huge chunks. And I was coming down around here and over from here at the almost at the end. And I was so worried, like right in this area, I couldn't quite tell if it was gonna meet up. I just couldn't quite like be sure until it actually did. Oh, what a relief. So let me put this down and I'll try to get my upper camera working so I can maybe get in close. So here, Nessie's being bad. I've got, can't quite get it all in, but I wanted you to be able to see some of the detailed stitching. And I put his initials in right here. This was my son's 18th birthday gift. That's what I'm referencing, in case you weren't here before. So yeah, it's a nice pattern. Like there's some things, like if I was designing it, I might do different. Like this wheel, wait, which one am I pointing to? This one. This wheel, all the ones in the corner, it's just, it seems a little dense in here. It doesn't work quite as well, but I mean, that's not like a flaw or anything. It's just, I would do it a little differently. But the dragons are so cool. Like with the tongue, they're not dragons. Oh, what did he tell me they were? Luke is big into Dungeons and Dragons, my son, and so he has a specific name for these creatures, which I cannot remember. Nessie's eating a pencil right now. So, yeah, it's she's driving me crazy already. It's been a lot of fun. See, she has a pencil. Oh, okay. You want to sit on my shoulder? Ooh, okay. I'm sorry. I'll try to ignore her a little bit. I just don't want her to poop on anything important, so I'm going to stick this over here. So, I started that at like the end of January, which was when that's when I started cross stitching. I goofed around with a little piece of Aida before that, just like, oh, do I want to try this? And so I did. I liked it instantly. And I haven't started a brand new craft in a very, very long time. And I was becoming quite frustrated with the things that I was doing. Painting primarily. I have my Master of Fine Arts in painting and drawing, and I got that in my early 20s. So I graduated in 98 with my master's degree. And I wasn't totally naive. Like, I didn't think that, oh, I'm just going to graduate and I'm just going to be an artist. That's kind of what I needed to do, but that's not what, of course, right? Like that's not how it works. And so, of course, life just went off on a big tangent. And then I got sick, and I've stayed sick. And even though I've become well enough now to be creative and move around during the day and things, that I don't, there's something about painting and drawing that is extremely exhausting for me. I think it's just the level of brain power needed can be just way too much when I'm in a chronic state. Like I look good when I come here. I do all the things. I try to get myself put together. But I can't do that every day, and I can't do it every week sometimes. So painting I'm not just a slap it on kind of painter. I really get into the nitty gritty, even when I'm not working on like realistic things, representational things. If I'm working abstractly, I still, I really dial in deeply to all the little color nuances and changes in value. And like, I really become kind of obsessive about all that. And that's exhausting. And I've had chronic Lyme, among, other things, for 20 years. And part of that is some neurological brain changes. I won't say damage exactly, but my memory does not work the way it used to. And I can't read very well, like heavy duty things. I have a really hard time retaining that kind of information. And so that's affected my creative life too. I used to be able to do lace knitting. I could follow a pattern. I understood what all the symbols meant. I even wrote patterns. But I can't do that anymore. I can still follow a pattern. Like I've got a Stephen West pattern, and then it's not super simple, but it's not lace either. And so just psychologically adjusting to, not being a painter per se, right? Like that's my thing. I am a painter, and really investigating the multi-crafting element. Like all the rest of my life, anything I did that wasn't paint, it was almost like it didn't really count. as it couldn't be serious because it wasn't paint, right? And that's something that was instilled, you know, from my family, you know, the way my family was structured, which was, you know, not bad, but at this point in my life, not helpful, you know. So stepping back from painting, even after I had gotten back into it for a few years, and I really, really worked hard. I focused my social media thing on Instagram. So if you want to see what I was doing a couple years ago as far as paint and drawing goes, check back on my Instagram. I'll have the link to it down below. But stepping back from that like a second time on purpose was quite painful, realizing that I wasn't going to be a painter in a gallery as an artist, because it's just not in me anymore. I just don't have the energy for that. So, you know, someday I'll keep painting, right? I'm not gonna just like not paint, but I had to find something that I could do every day that was creative and fulfilling and interesting, and, you know, just kind of feeds that part of myself that it really keeps me sane, you know. And when I first started cross stitching, I kind of just had this inkling like, oh, this is really different from anything I've done before. I've tried embroidery, you know, like different stitches, and I've made a couple pretty things, but not, I can't do it consistently. And embroidery too, like free form embroidery is beautiful, but it, like painting, it's all those tiny little decision. It's really just too much. That's so frustrating. I'm so frustrated. But with cross stitch, you know, especially working from somebody else's pattern, and it's right there in front of you. All the decisions are right in front of you. In this case, I've got a bird in front of me, but isn't she pretty? She's kind of scraggly looking now, but she is kind of pretty. You are pretty. I like your red wings. Oh, you lost a feather. Look at that. She's molting because it's springtime. That's why she looks a little raggedy, because she doesn't have all her feathers in yet, right? You don't have all your feathers in yet. So cross stitch has really filled a gap for me that's made it possible to relax into my creativity instead of trying always to work toward a career. And starting FLOSSTUBE pretty much right away, I think was very important, because in part, it's just wonderful to have this documentation of my history with this craft. Like from the very beginning, my first project, to have the recording of that, that's not something I've ever been able to do before. I'm not a journaler. I don't write. I have a sketchbook, but it's certainly not like a chronological document of any sort, right? I just kind of, all kinds of random crap ends up in there. And some of it's cool looking back, and some of it's just like, what was I thinking? But so having the FLOSSTUBE, no matter how many people see it, and of course, you know, I want to grow my channel. I want to keep making every video more interesting and edited better and the lighting better. And I spent all day yesterday working on the setup for today. By the time I got everything all set up, all the lights, and I've got 2 cameras today, so that was new. And by the time I had all that organized, I was done. I had to stop. So, yeah, I'm back today, and I'm fresh, and I've got my tea, and I've got my bird. Yeah. So, all right, enough of this. I am going to show you. I had my plans last time. I had 2 things that I was going to start. I did that. I did it. This first one, all right, Nancy, you gonna go up here now? The first one is, whoops, sorry. Wait a minute. That's backwards. I see. Okay. Sorry. I'm using a new iPhone that I've not recorded with before, so I forgot that everything ends up backwards in the thing. So it's called Quaker Virtues, and I'll put this in the overhead camera so that we can see a little bit better. So this is, I like that it's a Quaker in the shape of a Quaker, you know, like with the corners cut off. I do like that. It's got a similar density and like texture of the stitches to the background, to the fabric, that was in my first piece. I think that is something that draws me in, is that balance. So let me show you these. So this is the project that I'm doing on what was going to be my Middle Earth map. And that's on this 28 count, supposedly Aida, but it's not even. It's not even. So along the selvage edge, it's got more more space between the stitches, maybe, because it's the same stitches per, it's the same, I don't know how, let me try to say this better. So if I measure this, this is 1/10 of an inch. That's 1 and almost 7/10. And then this is 1 and 9/10. So across this very small space, not even 2 inches, I have 2/10 of an inch difference. So the bigger the project, of course, the more, you know, the measurement's going to be off. I have plenty of fabric for this. I'm sure I have plenty of fabric. And it doesn't bother me with this pattern that it's going to be distorted, because you can see here too, this is the first motif I did. And that's definitely not square. See, this direction is, again, about over 1/10 of an inch different just across that little space. So it's going to look a little squished, which I think will look pretty cool for this one. So I started here with the chopped off corner, and originally I had wanted to kind of start more in the middle, but I wanted to start on the edge with this in particular so that I could really have a good idea of how it was going to look. Like, is it going to be super squished? Is it going to be fine, right? Are the letters going to look okay? Yes, they do. This is the letter O right here, and this is J right here. This is an acorn, and that looks fine. So I'm just going to proceed. And I really like how taking these map colors is going to play on this gold fabric. Because when I was doing it as a full coverage, the map, I wasn't going to see the yellow. I just wanted it to kind of be a background tone to like even everything out, which was a bad idea in retrospect. Don't do that to yourself. It's hard enough to do a full coverage without doing it on a color. So what I'm doing, I'm just like I picked this color, I think is this one. Yeah. So, you know, if I hold this in my hand against, where do I have white? A white background. That does not look purple. But then as soon as you put it on top of the yellow, it looks purple. And I just love to play with that kind of thing. That's the painter in me. I really like to play with color, and to have like fixed colors is a challenge too, because, you know, with paint, I could just make whatever I wanted. A lot of the time it would be happy accident colors, and then I would try to recreate it, and that's how you learn, right? How to make what you want. So with floss, it's, you know, just all these colors, and they all kind of like jump together, and that's so much fun to play with. And there's so many opportunities in this pattern to make really cool choices, right? So I think, yeah, this is where I've started. You can see here's the acorn, and there's that's the square motif there. Hey, 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 don't eat that. You're gonna wreck it. Sorry, she's just off camera chewing on the pattern. So yeah, you can see here's the O, here's the acorn, here's the J. And so I'm just gonna kind of work my way organically out and around and just pick colors based on what's adjacent to them, you know, and do I want to make this particular thing pop, or do I want to, I'm wrestling with the bird here, or do I want to maybe make something disappear a little bit? So I'm just going to play with that. And so every time I bring it here to show you, I might have something completely different to say about it. Okay, Nessie. Okay. All right, I'm going to switch to the upper camera again. Come here, Nessie. Come here. I don't want you to poop on it. Okay. So, oh, ticklish. So we working on this, you know, dealing with that imbalance of, you know, it's not an even weave. Thanks so much. I have to write to the seller and tell him, you know, you really need to put a disclaimer in this that it's not actually good for cross stitch. It might be perfectly fine for embroidery, I don't know, but it's not good for cross stitch. Come here, you goofball. So I'm sorry, my bird is distracting me. Maybe I should put her away. She's so funny though. She'll calm down in a few minutes. So that was my first start. And it felt really good to do something very deliberate like that, you know, to have that, all those intentions that can still change. That feels a lot like a painting to me, where I'm making decisions, but not in an overwhelming way, right? Partly because the design is already made for me. I don't have to think about that. And that turns down a major part of my brain. I live with a lot of anxiety, and I think that when I'm really anxious like that, I definitely lose brain function. And so one of the beautiful things about cross stitch is very meditative and calming. So maybe I will be able to, over time, maybe I'm repairing my brain with the cross stitch. And maybe eventually I will work my way back into being able to do things that are more mentally taxing in a creative way. So that's my hope. That's my hope. It's like people who have traumatic brain injury. You know, they have to do a lot of work to get back what they had. And that's kind of what I feel like, even though I didn't clunk my head or anything. Okay, so the second thing I started is for the Strawberry Moon Stitch Along. And I really don't know how that works. I'm just gonna put the hashtag in thing. I've already put this one up on Instagram that I started it. This is Strawberry Fields Forever by Blackbird Designs. And I really like, again, this has an all over textural quality that I really enjoy. I think that's going to be a theme for a while anyway. Okay, I'll put this down below. Now she's eating a pen. That's making too much noise, sweetie. So I really like this pattern, and it's not big. It's about the same size as it's showing here. So this is done with over dyes. A few of them, the pinks and the red, I think, are over dyes. So I just chose from my stash colors that would work together in the same way as the ones in the recommended ones in the pattern. And I think it's a pretty good palette. It's a nice palette. There's a lot going on here. I did find, hey, stop. This is actually the recommended DMC red. Stop chewing on that. And it's a little dull to me for strawberries. And I had this one, which is very similar, but just a little brighter. So what I'm going to do is the house is going to be in the little bit duller red, and then the berries will be in the brighter red. And I added an extra pink to kind of accomplish the little bit more of the over dyed look. So I've got these three are the berry colors. Oh, 4. I've got another one over here. These 4 are the berry colors. So, where'd it go? No, there were 3. Okay. Sorry, getting myself confused. So those are the berry colors. And the stones, I chose, theirs are more of a greenish gray, but since my fabric is greenish and theirs is more of a beige or a taupe, not a taupe. Taupe is sort of greenish. I chose blues or grays that weren't quite so blue. And so here, I'll show you what I've got so far. Here we go. This is what we've got so far. And as you can see, that's just about the same size as the picture on the cover, which is so cute. It's so tiny and cute. This is my first time on 40 count linen, and I just love it. The stitches, they are not hard to get looking nice. I don't have to struggle to get nice looking stitches. Nope, she just took off. You can see she's got a perch right up there outside of the view of the camera. Okay, you'll be quieter now. So yeah, I picked grays that were in line with the same value structure as the pattern, but they aren't the called for grays. And so yeah, this is all the way across. I've got all these filled in, these bricks. These ones I just have the post and this filled in. I'm liking how it works. The camera, I don't know if we can, let me zoom in a little bit. There. So over here, these on camera, they look pretty close to the same, but they are different. These ones are a little bit brighter. This one's just a little bit greener maybe, or bluer. Cool. So these are warm, and this is a cool. And in real life, that plays up really nicely. That looks really good. So did I say, this is, the color is lichen, and it's by Picture This Plus? Yes, Picture This Plus 40 count lichen. And I do really like how the modeling looks. And I chose the side of the fabric that had less modeling on it. But I think, you know, I'm going to have half of it left over when I'm done. So I'll probably use the more contrasty side with something else. But yeah, I mean, look how beautiful this palette looks. I'm not sure about this whole floss drop thing. I've got these, I made these just little cards, right? With some cardstock that I had. They're a little bit hard to keep control of. But that looks really pretty. That looks really pretty. So I'm gonna do, zoom back out. I'm gonna finish this here. And you can see I changed that. The gate was supposed to be red. And I made it black. I felt like the design wasn't quite balanced at the bottom, and changing that color I think is going to balance it out. And I'm not going to do this little zigzaggy section. I don't know what that's supposed to be, and maybe it's supposed to be a pot, right? Like the berries are in a pot. So I'm going to do this last. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. If it's supposed to be like a planter, I'm going to make it more obviously a planter. I don't like the zigzags. It's just, I don't know. It looks too much like 70s fabric. Oh my God, that's terrible. I'm sorry. Whoever designed this, I'm really sorry. I don't mean to be rude. So yeah, but when I proceed, I think I'm going to work on getting this whole border done. And then kind of pop in and do things as I see fit. It's not going to take me a long time to do this. It'll be done before the end of summer. It better be. I'm not going to want to stitch on it in the fall. If it's still going toward the end of summer, I'll put it away and bring it out in the spring when I can't wait for things to just start growing. But I really am happy with how this is looking, and it's pleasant to work on. It's not heavy. It's not hard on my hands. There's Nessie's feather. Put that over here. And it's small, and most of my things are just big projects that are going to take a long time, which is good for me. Like I like kind of knowing what I'm going to be doing. I kind of like that predictability, but I don't want to be stagnant either. You know, I still want to have some excitement now and then. So starting a new thing, finishing a thing, I need to do that. Okay, put that out of the way. So those are my two starts. I think I got a good start on both of them. They're both paper patterns, so I don't have a stitch count, but yeah, I got a good start on them. Not like 10% or anything, but. So the next piece that I want to talk about, I'll be right back. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is this work in progress that I've got going. And I've introduced it before. I've talked about it a couple times, but I don't know, I just feel like maybe I didn't really make my point. Or really, you know, the depth of what I'm doing. So I have here this little figurine. It's called the Venus of Willendorf, and she is Neolithic, and she was probably first made 35,000 years ago. And there are many, many, many figures like this of women. She's like the most symmetrical, and her head is the most, I mean, her whole body is a lot more clearly defined than a lot of the ones that you find. And my grandmother, my my mom's mom, Agnes. I didn't have a great relationship with Agnes, but she gave this to me when I was a teenager. She and my grandpa used to go on lots of all kinds of tours and cruises and all that kind of thing. And I don't know where she got this, but it's a one-to-one replica, a cast from the original, which is awesome, right? That's awesome. And she has been a feature in my work since I was very young. So I had her when I painted this. This was made in, I was a senior in high school, so 1992. It's an acrylic painting. We had a man from the Seneca Nation, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce properly their, in their language, what they call themselves, and I don't want to butcher it. But when I was a kid, they were only known as the Seneca, who were part of the Iroquois Nation. So he was an artist and a storyteller, and he came to our school for, I think, 3 days. And he told stories, and the one that really got me was the creation story. And most cultures have a creation story, and you can almost tell which cultures are related to each other by those stories and by commonalities in those stories. And so the one he told us, I'm not going to repeat it because I don't know it properly, and that's not my story to tell anyway. But it was a woman, and the world was created on the back of a turtle. And I'll bring it in closer so that you can see some of the detail. So there's the turtle, and you can see like she's got heavy. There's the corn, the beans, and the squash, which is a traditional trio called the Three Sisters that a lot of Native American people had like a version of. Corn, beans, and squash is probably the most recognized. Then I've got a mountain range, and there's water, hills. She's in my best 1990s estimation of what an Indigenous woman's clothing would have looked like. Pardon me, I know it's not. And then she turns into a tree that goes through all the seasons in the leaves. And so this has been a theme for me. This wasn't even the first painting I did with that in mind. It is the oldest one that I have, and the only one that was really complete, like a complete painting. And it was in my parents' house for many years, and now it usually lives on my bookcase. So that's the whole Mother Earth creation stories. Matriarchy. This is all stuff that I've always been interested in, and I'm only really now, as a new grandmother, my grandson is 2. I don't know. It's given me some just enough of a distance from that like pure mother figure, like being that mother figure exclusively for so long. It's hard to look at it from the outside, and so now I've gotten old enough, and my children are old enough, that I can kind of see what mothering is as a whole. And it's a powerful thing to be a mother, not to just give birth, but the whole process, the whole mental structure that you develop as a mother. It's incredibly powerful, and I think that that's been a threat. And we need to figure out how to get our society more in line with true humanity, true human potential and strength and power. Okay, well, that was serious, wasn't it? So this next piece that I've got is, it's a Russian design, I think, or maybe one of the Slavic countries. It's, the description was in Cyrillic, which is not something I can read. All right, so let me put my camera down again so you can see what I've got going on here. Oh, look how well Nessie matches. Nessie, you look very pretty. Should we give you some yellow? Would you look pretty in yellow? So these are the colors that I'm going to use, and I'll put a little somewhere. I'll put an image of what I've got. Oh, she likes that. Okay, so get out of there. You're gonna chew holes in it. So let's see. Let's put it this way. So yeah. So this is the base. I see these as like roots going down, and then this is her dress coming up. And to me, this looks a lot like a corn stalk. The design, it has little buds, so it's not made to be a corn stalk, but I see that because of, you know, things that I know. I'm pretty sure there's no historical corn grown in Russia. Not like anything like what we've had in South America here. So this is going really well, and this is where I first started to get the hang of making my stitches better. I started to get really excited because I started in this area, and you can see it's not all laying really nice and smooth. You know, it's a little ratty looking. And as I worked my way across, I started to realize that, you know, certain tension, pulling in a certain direction, stitching in a certain order, all those things were really impacting how my stitches looked. And then I started railroading. And so this little strip right across the top, maybe these 4 lines up here, they look pretty nice and smooth, 5 or 6 rows. And that's when I started railroading. And it made me so happy to have nice stitches. I've been getting kind of frustrated that I wasn't improving my stitch quality. I was getting faster and making fewer mistakes and all that kind of thing, but the stitch quality just was looking rough. Like this one looks pretty rough. And I'm not going to take those out. I thought about it. I'm not going to take them out. If I like to have evidence of my journey, you know. It's like, it would be like throwing away all my notebooks and all, you know, all those little glimmers of ideas. That would be silly, right? You want an evidence of the journey. So she's gonna fit on this just fine. This is a 25 count, I think. 25 count Aida. And it is also not even. It is also along the selvage. It's longer. But this pattern, it doesn't matter at all. It's small and it doesn't matter at all. Here, let me hold this up maybe into the view. Yeah, I should have pressed it. But yeah, so the colors, when it's hanging up like this, you can really see how nicely that green pops out and shows up. And there'll be the bright yellow flowers as well. And that'll look pretty cool. Loving it. And I think this I do have digital, I wrote it down. Let's see. Yeah, I'm 20%, and it's 2/1. I'm not sure that these are going to be the only yellows that I use. I have others. I might end up really getting a couple more in there and making it more diverse. So that's Mother Earth, and I plan on seeing more purchase patterns, and I've got some glimmers of ideas what I can do for cross stitch patterns too. Looking back through all my notebooks for my sketchbooks for painting and drawing, there's a lot of patterns that I never proceeded with as paintings because I just couldn't figure out like how do I want it to look like that? Do I really want to paint that rigid of a structure? You know, more graphic maybe things. And I think they're pretty well suited to cross stitch. So future Tommy, we'll come back to you and maybe have a pattern on offer. Okay, Nessie, I'm going to move this now. Thank you. All right. Nessie's she keeps me unfocused, which sometimes is a good thing and sometimes is not. All right, Nessie, here. Why don't you come up here? Come up here so that people can see you. Yeah, so that people can see you. So that's all my whips and works, you know, finished things, big ideas for what I'm working on now. So as far as plans go, I'm trying to keep it a little loose. This next couple weeks is going to be very, very intense. My son graduates from high school. He's got a Regents exam, and there's other stuff going on too. Summer's not as relaxing as winter. It seems like every weekend there's a different event. Now, I do want to kind of focus on Strawberry Fields as a morning stitch, and I'm thinking that by the end of July it'll be done. And if I start to really get excited about it, it could be done the next time you see me, you know, by the end of June. So I'm just gonna, that's my morning stitch, and I'm just gonna keep at it. I have been having some really slow days where I don't have much energy, and my morning stitch can kind of turn into my all day stitch. So if that happens a couple times, it'll be done. I'm also, and I will insert some photos here of this quilt that I'm working on. I have a video called Ben's Graduation Quilt. I started to record the process of designing and all that, and I decided to not continue with that because it was really, I couldn't think about sewing and recording at the same time. I just kept making mistakes. I would like make mistakes with the recording at one point, and then I'd get the recording right, but I would make mistakes in the sewing, and I'd have to rip stuff out. So I think I'm just gonna talk about the progress of this quilt here, and then have a video maybe when it's finished. So this is a quilt I'm making for my son's best friend. They've known each other since they were 2.5. We met at the library. They're library kids, both of them. My son works in a library now. He's been working in the library since he was 14, so that's pretty cool. But his buddy Ben, you know, they're both graduating, one day after the other, and we are so proud of them, all of us parents. And I've made graduation quilts for a lot of the young people that I've known, but I don't know, this one just feels kind of special. It's like it's kind of the end of an era, you know, like that generation. None of us have little kids anymore, you know. My brothers still have little kids because they started much later than I did, but it just feels like we've come full circle. And so this quilt is, you know, it's about Ben and his interests, and he was always a huge Lego fanatic. I think he probably still is. A huge Lego fanatic. So I kind of picked the colors and the shapes and stuff that spoke to that without being literal. And I'm gonna machine quilt it myself. It's gonna be like a lap size, 72 by 60. So I need to get that done soon. So my goal is to finish the quilt top by the end of June, and then to spend a week beating my head against my sewing machine quilting it in early July and have it ready by mid-July, because we're gonna have like a party with our family's graduation party for the boys. So that's for that. And my other plan that I don't know how much you'll see of it or how much I'll be ready to show you when I come back, but I am going to start working more deliberately on some cross stitch designs. I have a better awareness of my my preferences, my process, sizes. I've been wanting to do designs for months now, but I didn't feel like I knew enough about cross stitch to really make designs that work and are fun to stitch. And I think I'm getting to the point where I'm ready to do that. I might not be ready to release any patterns, but I'm ready to make a pattern for myself and stitch it and see, okay, what about this needs to be improved? So I'm kind of at that point. So hopefully I'll have something to show you, not stitched probably, but a design of some sort that I plan on working on. Don't bite me, that's rude. That's rude. Don't be rude. So that's my main plans. Oh, this shirt that I'm wearing is something I made. It's out of quilting cotton batik, which I love batiks. Nessie doesn't like standing on my shoulder when I wear this shirt because it's slippery. The fabric is so tightly woven with a batik, and her nails just slip, right? Yeah, they slip. You know, they sit on my finger. Yeah, so I made this. I don't really like it much. I don't wear it much. The sleeves, it was a unisex pattern. I have it right here. This pattern, Simplicity, can't read backwards, S9858. I've made this shirt for, let's see, 4 different people, and it fits the men just fine. So I don't think it's really a unisex pattern because it doesn't fit me just fine. It's super tight in wrong places, and the way the arm side works, it leaves a lot of bag up here, and then it's tight right here. So I'm not going to make this pattern again for myself, but it is a good pattern for men. It's very adjustable, the way the pattern pieces are. I do like it. I do like it. But I've been trying to figure out how to make myself a button-down regular shirt because I love flannels, but they're so expensive. I just haven't found that pattern yet that really works. I'm probably going to have to take a few patterns and kind of mix them together and hopefully make something that's more comfortable. So let's see. Are we doing pretty good, Nessie? Should we be done? Are we done? I think we're done. It's been great talking to you. I really appreciate you sticking around. I appreciate your comments, the likes and shares. Please subscribe. If you've gotten this far, you've really helped me out already just by giving me some watch time. I do want to grow my channel. I do want to get monetized. I'm not going to be secretive about that. I'm disabled. I have a fixed income. It would be wonderful to make pocket money. That's all really what I want to do. I would like to be able to support my own supply buying primarily. That's my goal. So yeah, I really appreciate you sticking around and helping me with that. And please ask me any questions. I've really been enjoying the back and forth with some people in the comments. I haven't had like a big viral moment or anything yet. It's like a slow build, which is fine because I think a viral thing would really be stressful. It's funny, like the first floss tube I did, I wasn't hardly nervous at all because I knew nobody was going to see it. I mean, hardly anybody. But now, you know, I've got close to 200 subscribers, and so yeah, it's getting a little bit more like somebody's seeing this, Tommy. Somebody's seeing this. But that's good, right? That's good. I'm not just like living in my own little bubble anymore. I'm tired of being in my own bubble. Nessie pops bubbles. So thank you. I will see you in a couple weeks. Bye.